And here is my latest find. I told y'all I was going to re-gear the rear end, and I can also beef up the axle. This is a 9.75 rear axle, and it's close to the heaviest rating for this F-150. There's one above this. It's got 7 lugs, but this one's special. It's got a electronic locking mechanism, which I can't show you the plug right now because it's upside down, but it's a locking 9.75 373 rear axle. It's got right around 100,000 miles on it, and looks like it's been pretty well taken care of, no leaks or anything. So that is going to replace my 8.8 axle under here. The only modification that I see that I'm really going to have to make, besides the wiring for the locker, is I'm going to have to shorten the I'm going to have to shorten the drive shaft by about 1 inch to 1.25 inches, I think. I believe I am, anyway. We'll know for sure after I get it installed. So as we continue the upgrades, man, I really like these gray seats. And I should have bought gray seats to replace these, but I ended up finding a good deal on a set of leather seats with electric controls and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to keep these seats because I'm not sure if I'm going to keep the electric seats or not, but as you can see, this one needs to be replaced. And just the cushion cover on this thing was over $200 and something, so I was like halfway to a set of leather seats that are adjustable, and decided to go that route. But I'm gonna see if they'll bolt in here. Yeah, I don't think the wiring is there for the power seats. That's the only problem. I'm probably not gonna have a 12-volt negative ground and positive going to the seats. I'm hoping I do, but that truck is an XL model, which is the very lowest as far as electronic gadgets. So I'm not expecting miracles here. I'll probably have to wire it in myself. I have this one on its side because I was checking the wiring and making sure that my my pins were correct. Well, here's how nice they are. This is probably the one with the worst wear because it's the driver's seat. It's got a little bit of wear right there, but overall looks nice. They're heated and cooled and 10-way adjustable electric seats with airbags. So the crucial thing is the airbags, and this is probably going to be crucial also, but there's only a 2-year difference, so I'm thinking everything's gonna match up. But the main thing is the airbag connection. You can see all these crazy modules here. Anyway, pins 1 and 2 are for the airbag. The colors match up because this is a 2014 seat. This is a wiring diagram for a 2010, and this is side passenger side, and this is what this is. So here's the little heating cooling fan, and here's the module right here for heating and cooling. I'll have to figure out how to wire that up later. But for right now, I want to make sure that I can plug these in, and hopefully we'll have some power to them. I think it's a good investment though. Give me a little bit better ratio and a locking rear differential and a heavier duty axle, and hopefully I can sell the other one and recoup some cost. The time to buy something, whether you're going to use it or not, is when you find a good deal. So I'm a firm believer in that. And that engine I've got in that truck has got 190,000 miles on it, so I said, why not go ahead and start collecting some pieces to put together a 5.4 liter engine. Picked up some heads pretty cheap. These are supposedly have like 40,000 miles on it. I had another engine block here that I had. These are like 2003 or 4 or something. 2 valve heads. Picked those up pretty cheap also. Got the 5.4 cover. I found a block that is probably going to need to be bored. This is the 5.4 block. One of the cylinders is a little rough. The rest of them could probably be honed. I really need to take it to the machine shop, get it checked out. But I picked this stuff up cheap. I'm not saying I'm going to go this route. I may buy a whole engine and stick it in there, but halfway to rebuilding an engine, and if I collect enough, parts, I may go that route, especially because I can build it with really good components. This is the same block that they put in the Ford Lightnings, which is basically what I'd like to have in that truck to boost up the horsepower in it. Maybe supercharger, maybe a turbocharger. This is a forged 5.4 crank. It's probably going to need to be turned because somebody had it in their shed, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a few little rust spots on the crank. But it's okay. I think it's a standard crank, so it can be turned slightly. Got a high volume oil pump, and yeah, it says it. I think that will bolt onto that 5.4. I'll have to research it, but this doesn't look like it has many miles, but it's a larger than normal oil pump. And just collecting little things here and there. I'm not sure these heads are usable because they didn't come with the end caps, but engine block crank, $75. That's what I paid for that, and that's a forged 5.4 crank. These came off a truck also. Also, just in case I go the turbo route, this is not necessarily the turbo I wanted to end up with, but it's off a Cummins, and it's an HY35, similar to an HX35, except that it's got a smaller wheel on it and everything, which I want to build boost as soon as possible, like 1500, 2000 RPM, as much boost as I can, up to, like 4500 or something. This is not a race truck. I want to build boost early and just a ton of torque. So just in case, I've got about, I think I paid $25 for that. And there is no shaft play in it whatsoever. And it spins freely. Turbine wheel looks like it's in pretty good shape. This has got some, studs stuck in it, but I mean, $25, can't beat it, man. All right, so I don't have a lot of money invested in this stuff, but I'm collecting parts just in case I decided to build a 5.4 and put it in there. I did find a Lightning motor with a supercharger. A Lightning motor runs about $3 grand for a used one with 100,000 miles on it. And I would much rather build my own and know what's in it and what components are in it, and if I need to repair it. I want to stick with the 2-valve heads. I don't want to go with 3-valve. I want to keep it simple, and I want to put a forged rotating assembly in it, forged rods, and maybe forged pistons. Not necessarily, I don't have to stick with forged pistons. I may go the hyper technic pistons, I don't know, just something that low compression ratio, so I can have a power outer, either supercharger or a turbo. So ultimately, that's way down the road. Right now I'm really happy with the 4.6. I could even go a 4.6 and supercharge a 4.6 or turbocharger a 4.6, but I want the added torque that 5.4 dishes out. So nothing's set in stone yet. These are the only purchase I don't know if I regret yet or not. I don't necessarily need these. They don't match the interior. I really like the gray ones I have. I may put them back up for sale for what I got in them, and see if I can find me some gray ones. In the meantime, I'm going to work on the wiring and see about wiring them in the truck, see how hard that's going to be. We're going 2-wheel drive. We're going locking rear differential. That should be able to get me out of, sticky situations, mud and stuff like that. Hopefully, maybe 90% of the situations. And we're going with a winch system on the front. Got this used. Excuse the headlights here. You're going to see that later in this video. This is a hidden winch system that's specifically designed for that F-150. It's going to go behind the bumper, and it takes a standard winch. And I'm going to go with either hopefully a 9,000 or 1,200. I'd like to get a 1,200 in there, but it's quarter whatever size I can put in there. But this goes behind the bumper. We've got the fair leads and everything, and got that fairly inexpensive. Didn't come with all the hardware, so I'll probably end up with about $100 in it. And I got to locate a winch. Experience with good winches, I know Warren is the one to go with, but those are always 3 or 4 times, you know, what you can purchase another one for. And I'd like to have one with a synthetic line on the front instead of the cable, but I'll take whatever I can, because the object is to keep this, you know, inexpensive and not go too crazy expense-wise. Which brings me to one of the worst purchases I've made so far, which I don't have a lot of money invested in it, are these headlights right here. This, I don't know why I went down this route again. The guy made me an offer I couldn't refuse. Front and rear taillights, I think I paid $40 and swapped my old ones out. Big mistake. I can't see at night with these things. They're terrible. I've tried aiming them. The lights are bright. The smoke lenses are not that bad. I mean, they look okay on the truck. Actually, it's a little spacey for me. I really like the old ones better. So going back to OEM stock. I think you guys can kind of get the idea of what I'm up to here. This is a 03 Lightning engine, or actually Harley Davidson engine for the supercharger. I think it's 380 horsepower, 440 foot-pounds of torque. Just need to get it safely off the back of the truck. One thing I didn't figure out, if that thing is going to stick under the hood. I still have to go through, check compression on this thing, see what kind of shape it's in. Supposedly 95,000 miles. You know how things are. Probably not that, probably 195,000. But what I paid for it was just worth the intake and the supercharger setup alone. So basically you got the engine for about the same price, engine and all, and it does have missing the other brackets that I needed, an alternator and a starter, which is awesome because I didn't expect a starter or an alternator. It doesn't look pitted or anything. It looks pretty clean in there. I may have a good engine here. It's hard to tell without doing a compression check. That's the next step. I gotta figure out how to put a starter on this thing so I can turn it over, which I have to have the bell housing. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that. But luckily they included the starter with it. (2003). This is the engine I'm gonna go with, the replacement for my Cummins motor. I think this is my best solution. I'm expecting about 14-15 miles per gallon average, and enough horsepower to be able to tow what and torque to tow what I need to tow. And being a 2-valve motor, I'm expecting it to be fairly reliable and inexpensive because parts are everywhere for these things, and they've made this engine for years and years. And hopefully I've got a good one. I do need to check the spark plugs and see if any plugs have been blown out of the holes at all. I noticed the coils are on this side, and on this side, missing coils. I wonder why they would, maybe they robbed coils to do something else, but there's water down in there, which I think they might have cleaned this engine up and sprayed water down there. I need to get it out of there for sure. Looks like somebody was trying to take the intake off too. That's a bummer. Would be awesome if I could like venture in this thing. I'd love to be able to do that. maybe I'll figure out how to do it. All right, that's all for today, guys. That's my parts collection, and hopefully I haven't made a major mistake. I think I could get my money back out of it, just the supercharger and intake and everything, if worse comes to worse, and injectors and stuff like that. But hopefully I'm going to be able to use this. Yeah, I know. I know what you're thinking, but I'll explain next video. Maybe it'll make sense. Thanks for watching, guys.
Hey, thanks for watching my channel, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do for future updates. Remember, build it, don't buy it.